Welcome back to our Spark DataFrame learning session. Today, we'll be continuing with our Spark DataFrame project exercise. Last time, we completed till this section where we have to create a new data frame with a column called HV ratio. Now, we'll continue our exercise. So let's do that. The question asks, what day had the peak high in price? How do we do this? Let's start by typing DataFrame, and we need to look at a column high and do the descending order of the high column. Let's do that. DataFrame will take this column high and do descending order of that. Once we do it, what do we get? Let's check. We made some mistake here. DataFrames are defined. Why is that? We have to run the earlier queries to make sure that we have loaded data. Let's do that. I'm loading the data frame, starting a session. Every time you open the file, you need to load data frame. I'm loading data frame now. Just for quick review, this data frame has a column date, open, high, low, close, volume, and it goes by each day. Now let's run this again. We want to see what does this data frame contain. It contains the same column as it was before, but only thing is that it has been sorted by high. Now, we question asks for what day had a peak high in price. So we don't need all this information. We just need information that's the highest value of the high, and we'll do just that. We'll get the for top row that has that information. We can go further and index it so that we can only returns the date for that row from that row, and let's do that. It returns the date when the peak high in price. Next, we want to do mean. What is the mean of close column? This one is easy. Let's start by typing select mean. We want to do the mean of close and show. It is giving me error here because we have not imported a mean function from SQL functions. Let's do that. and run it. Let's go to the end. Now there is no error. Let's run it. There you go. We have our answer. Moving on to next question. What is the max and min value of volume columns? Max and min. How do we do this? For this one too, we have to import max and min functions. But before we do that, let's type it out what we want to do. Select, same as before, max of volume, right? Yes, it is volume. Let's see if there's an issue here. We mix max and min are not imported. We need to import max and min as well. Max, min. Let's run this cell. Now we have our answer. Moving on to the next question. How many days the close lower than how many days was a close lower than $60? How do you do this? We can do this in different ways. Let me show you the first one. We can do by simply using SQL function, that is closer 60, and count the result. Before we count, let me just briefly show what does it show here, so that we know what is showing. It is giving error. Why is that? I type closer, not close. Now it should give me what I need. It seems that this is the result what we need. Now we need to count it. Let me remove the show and just do count. How many rows it has? 81. Therefore 81 days was a day. How many days has close is less than 60? We can do by another way. Let me show you. df filter. This is more Pythonic way to do it than SQL way, which I did earlier. Close. Okay. 60 here, and show to see the result. Same we had before. Now let me count it as we need 81. That's what we wanted, right? Yes, that's what we wanted. Now let me show you the third way of doing this. What we will do is we will simply take this expression and feed that into a variable. That's going to be our data frame. Now we'll be doing a one more SQL on top of that. Says SQL result select. and we'll apply count function, which we have not imported yet. So this will give me error. Close and show. Count, we need to import count now. How do we do this? Let me go to the top and import the count here. Count. And run this. Now let me go down and run this again. Why it is giving me the error here? Int has no attribute select. I know why it is giving me error. It is giving me error because result is not a data frame, it is just an int value. We need to remove this count function and run this cell again. And let's run this again. And it's not giving me error anymore. Moving on, question is what percent of the time was high greater than $80? In other words, number of days that is greater than high greater than 80 and divided by total days in a data set. For this, we need to get the number of days when high is greater than 80. How do we do this? We can do this by doing filter. Let me do DataFrame dot filter as we did before. Let me just do copy this statement here so that it will be easier for us. Now we want column is high. That's what we want, right? Yes, it is. High is the column we want. Let me do this. IGH high, and it has to be greater than $80. Let me see what does it give me. It is giving me some value here, some data frame. Let me display the data frame here. Okay. Let me count how many days is this. High is greater than 80. I have what I need, and let me count how many days does it give me. It is giving 115 days. Now we have this value. We need to divide the total number of days that's available in the data frame without filtering. So let me do that then. Count. And I have 0.0914. This is in 0 to 1 range. We need to convert that into 100 range. Let me do that. Now we have 9.14%. We have our answer. Moving on to next question. What is the Pearson correlation between height and volume? How do we do this? Let me show you. For this, we need to import a function called correlation, and let me do that. Correlation is a function we want to import, and let me run the cell. Now, next step is to write a select statement as we have already done before, which is really simple. Correlation, we'll call this correlation function, and next step is high volume. We have these two values here, correlation, and it says minus 0.33. It is not high correlation. There is a very low correlation between these two values. Very low correlation. High correlation is when we have more than 80.8. If it is higher than 0.8 plus or minus, then it's a high correlation. Uh, if it is 0.5, then it's a medium correlation. If it's less than 0.5, then it is very low correlation. Low correlation, very low correlation. We don't need to worry anything about it. This one. Moving to next question. What is the max high per year? How do we do this? Max high per year. What he's saying is that we have our records in granularity of each day. First thing we do is we need to move the granularity from daily to yearly basis by doing group by. Once we do that, we need to apply max on high column for each of those years. Then we'll get what we need. Let's start by grouping the data. Let's first of all, before even group the by year, we need to add a year column to that. Let's do that. Let's do df dot with column, and we'll do add year data frame date. Secondly, once we have our year data frame with year column, we need to find the group. We need to do group by on that. Group by data frame, that is year df dot group by year and max value. We'll apply max on all the rows of that data set. Once we do the group by year, we'll do the max for remaining columns. Wait a minute, why is giving me year error? I forgot to import year function. Let me go and import it. Year function. Let me go down and go to our usual place, and now it's not giving any more. Let's try to run what we get. Give me some value here. No, let's see what it's giving me. So we have year here, and all the remaining, all the columns of the data frame are being applied with max function. We don't need all the columns. We just need two columns here. One is year itself, and one is max high. Therefore, we need to do some select on top of this data frame. Max df equal to select, because we don't need all the columns, do we? No, we don't. Max, and let me copy the column name, which is max high here, and do show just to see what's going on. I made a mistake. It should be dot, not select. And this is what we need. Moving on to next question. What is the average close for each calendar month? In other words, across all the years, what is the average close price for January, February, March? You usually have a value for each of these months. To do this, we need to import a function called month. That is, we want to extract month from the date for each of the rows. Let me do it. Month. Running it now. Going down. Same as before, we need to do month df, and we want to do add a column with the month for each of the rows. It's going to be month, and the function we want to apply is month to the data frame date. Once we do that, what you need is a average df. We will take month df dot group by we'll take slightly different route here. We'll not first select those two columns we need, that is month. Instead of doing exactly what we did before, we'll try something new so that we know different ways of doing things. We don't need all the columns. What we need is close column. And then once we have the close column, we'll apply what we need. We'll apply group by on top of that. Group by, that is month. And then we'll apply mean function on top of that. Mean function on top of that. That's how we do it. That's how it's done. Okay. Let me run this again. Giving me error. It's running. Next step, we need to display the value from this data frame. Average df dot show. Let's see what's inside this data frame. We don't need average month. We just need to see the two columns here. That is month and average close. Let me try it again. Still there's some issue with this data. The month is not ordered properly. We need to order by month. Let me do this. There you go. We have our result. Let me quickly summarize what we discussed today. We discussed about selecting the peak high in a price. Secondly, we talked about using mean function on closed column. We also talked about using max mean on volume column. We talked about using count function on a data set and different ways of doing that. We talked about how can we create the percentage by doing counting from small to a larger part, whole to small to a whole part using the ratios and getting percentage out of that. We talked about using Pearson correlation between two numeric values or numeric columns. And we also talked about using max function on high column, as well as we talked about using average function on closed column. In this way, we have finished our DataFrame project exercise. That's all for today. I will see you in next learning session. Thank you so much.